Bills and Chiefs. When I was watching this game, it's just when Hardman fumbled the punt. This is a game early in the game.
First quarter.
Did not feel
One
confident at all.
play.
I
It's
know,
not that.
Hardman he was visibly upset. He knew, like, in games like that,
Oh,
in a conference.
I love how he sat down and he threw the giant park on top of him. He's like, and then, but those
Yep.
Chiefs players, though, took it off and say, it's one play. We need you. We have to come back. And to McColl's credit, he had a big game after that, right? He made
That's
some
my
huge
point.
plays.
Watching the players go back to him and be like, hey, like, it's fine. I was like, oh no, this means nothing. Like, yeah, sucks for Hardman in that moment. Bills, congratulations, you're up 9-0. Doesn't mean anything. Like, just, they're such a good team. And the Bills just weren't able to do much offensively. That Chiefs defense was good. They played really well, and they shut down a lot of what the Bills tried to do. And they went conservative when they wanted to, the Chiefs, and the Bills did score some late points, but that was never a game the Bills were in. Watching it, the Chiefs can turn it on and off. They turned it on when they went down 9-0, and they turned it off a little bit because they didn't need to.
Yeah,
there's just such a good team. Mahomes, again, he made 2 crazy throws for first downs coming out of a sack. Like, as he's being dragged to the ground, he's completing these passes. You have Kelsey, you have Tyreek Hill. Like, we're singing the same
always
tune
like
here.
the huge difference to me between Mahomes and Brady is that they're great, but in 2 completely different ways. And I've said before too, I'm someone who watches as many NFL games as I can, but I don't have really a whole lot of allegiance to like any NFL teams at this point. And so Mahomes is just pure entertainment to me. The whether it's like a play design or just what he manufactures by himself, the Chiefs do something every week that I haven't seen before that just makes me drop my jaw in awe of what, like, Brady I'm mad at because I'm just like, oh, you're just dinking and dunking your way to 10 Super Bowls. But like, it's hard for like me as someone who rooted for the Chargers growing up to even be mad at Mahomes because I'm like, oh well, okay, you just threw a 90-yard bomb as you were being tackled. Like, I can't be that mad at you for that.
No,
like,
that was a
awesome.
good play. Good play.
So you have all of that stuff going on. I think it's crazy when you look back. We just got done talking about the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, I believe, in playoff games where he has been trailing at any point in that game, is 1-8. When you look at the games, not just in his career, because there's been some epic ones in the regular season as well, but just the postseason success that Mahomes has had by coming back. I mean, he's always playing from behind, and he always finds a way. Even last year, when they were down 24-0 to the Texans in the second quarter, that I think was the closest where I was like, the Texans are playing great, and 24 points is a lot to come back from, but it's the second quarter, though. Like, Mahomes can do it so quick.
He's been good in the second quarter, too. There was a Raider game where they were up in the first quarter. They score 28 points in the second quarter, and then they do nothing else for the rest of the game, but they still win because they turned it off, and their defense just controlled the game. Did it with the Texans. They scored 28 points in the second quarter in that playoff game. It's crazy in just one quarter how much they can score when they're behind. Doesn't matter what the score is.
It was nuts too, because they like the whole. I think when McColl Hardman dropped that punt and the score was 9-0, at first for a second, I think most people had that same reaction, like, oh no, that sucks. But then all of a sudden, the Chiefs come back and it's just like, oh yeah, no, like we have this, like, all the momentum after the Chiefs scored again, it completely shifted. And it was a thing, like, Sean McDermott maybe wasn't as aggressive as he could have been by kicking some field goals in certain spots, but he also went for it a ton on fourth down in other situations to get them into field goal range. And analytics play a role into that to a certain a degree too. But to me, it was a case where I didn't have any huge issues with the coaching decisions. To me, this was just a clear indication of, the best team in the NFL and a really strong competitor. But that just shows what the gap is. It's basically, to me, the same thing that happened when the Lakers played the Nuggets, right? Like, Nuggets are really, really, really good. Lakers are on a different level
Different
right now
level.
than like where those teams
And
were.
that's
And
what the
so,
Chiefs are. Like they
and
are.
yeah, and you said it, Kyle. The fact that like the Chiefs were able to like do it, even if they didn't score, over 35 points because they didn't need to. Like their defense played so good for pretty much the entire
Yeah.
game. We're making plays left and right. Like the Bills, I mean, they have issues running the ball anyways, which is something
Yeah.
if they could get a legit running game going, they're going to be even
Real
more
good.
scary. But this is something that I've just been laughing about, and it goes back to our power rankings discussion when we talked about the NBA. I was always saying there were a bunch of people like Colin Cowherd, for one, saying, weeks 14, 15, 16, 17, the Bills are the hottest team, the best team. Sure, this is why power rankings, you can, put teams here and it's fun and we can talk about stuff. The Chiefs didn't care. It was a regular season. The playoffs start, they turn it on and they obliterate
Yep.
your number one, team. The guy you thought, Colin Cowherd on Friday last Friday said that Josh Allen was a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. Like it's just insane. Now, part of this is because it's media people like Colin Cowherd know they're going to piss me off, and then I talk about it
And
here,
they get
right?
clips.
So they're very smart. They're very smart. I get that, but just like this is what I was waiting for this whole time. To me, it was the same thing as the season the Warriors had after they went 73-9, when they would lose a random game to like a mediocre, OKC team or what, because they just weren't all that motivated
Yeah,
yet,
they're
right? Like
like,
you
why
had
do
Kevin
we?
Durant, you
We don't
had Steph
need a
Curry, you
kid.
had all these players. Why do they need to win this meaningless
Yeah.
regular season game, right?
They
You
even said
can't,
that like they're not trying to get that 73. So yeah,
you can't get that amped up for 82 games in a row, right? And that's
God.
just the regular
That is
season.
crazy because this season is 72 games now, and you look back and like, wow, that would have made they would have went undefeated in a season. Like that's how
Yeah,
many
totally.
games they won. It's just crazy. That's
Yeah.
something else though.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I want to kind of focus on the Bills now because we're gonna talk about the Chiefs way too much, and they deserve it. Sure, whatever. But the Bills, Josh Allen, this Bills team is for real, and you got to go through the Kansas City. We're on a verge of a super team dynasty going forward in the AFC
especially
with Kansas City, but the Bills
last
are
thing
right
I just want
there.
to say about the Chiefs, though,
Yeah.
is that especially if you think if D4 doesn't go offsides in that game against the Patriots, they go to the Super Bowl, and I think
Potentially, this
everybody
is
assumes
3 in a
that
row.
they beat the Rams, then, right? Like,
Oh, they beat the Rams. Yeah, they beat the
so
Rams. So boom, that's a
yeah.
you're
Anyways,
potentially on a 3P. Yeah, that's a good point. Like this team is and has been very good for a while. But Bills, Josh Allen took that leap this year. Kind of surprised everyone right out the gate.
yep,
They didn't discover that magic they had early in the season where they were just going down the field easily. And again, Chiefs playoff game, winter, different game, of course, but they didn't discover that, and ultimately, I think that's why they lost. They couldn't get anything offensively going. But this team going forward is good, and I think if they get a running game going, it helps everything. Diggs and I was going to say Stephon, but that's his first name. Diggs and Allen clearly have a connection, and
absolutely.
they look ready to go. After the game, Josh Allen, as the game was still happening, but it's clear they lost. He's going around to each teammate, giving him a hug, talking to them like, "Hey, everything's good." He has that leadership. I like that. I like Allen going forward. I like this team going forward. Hopefully, New England doesn't bounce back because man, wouldn't that be a disappointing thing? Is New England has one down season. Buffalo almost gets to the Super Bowl, and then the Patriots somehow return the glory because of Belichick being some coaching genius, and now Buffalo has to put up with them again. But crazy, Buffalo has lost 32 out of 35 times they've played against Tom Brady. Would have loved that in the Super Bowl, though. Is just them overcoming that. Not as
Yeah,
exciting as a game, and I think we're gonna get a way better game. But I really wanted the Bills to win.
yeah. I was thinking like if Josh Allen had been drafted, 2 years earlier, and there was like 4 straight
That's a good
years where he
point.
was
Yeah.
going head to head with Brady, and they didn't get into the playoffs because week 17 Brady knocks him out or something like that. I think that you have a much more meaningful game versus a Bills team versus Brady. But I think with the fact that the Bills made the playoffs last year, when Brady was still there, and at the end of the season, because I think the Patriots started off 9-0, but it was like the Steelers. They were really they
Fell
were
apart.
not a 9-0 team. And so I think that could have been more drama. I do love the Bills going forward, especially because they still have 2 years left before they're going to have to pay Josh Allen big money.
Yeah.
The issue though with that is, so you have to fix the running game, and I'm not sure that's just not getting a running back. That's also improving your offensive line, which will fix everything too. Josh Allen is a top 5 quarterback right now in this league, was an MVP candidate. His mobility as well. He never gets hurt. He has a rocket arm. Like all the things that you
Take
can
some
make
big
the
hits
case
too.
he is a better prototypical quarterback than Mahomes is, just because of his size. Like Mahomes is much more likely, as evidenced by this postseason, to get injured than Josh Allen is. So like I love the Bills going forward. They have a tremendous defense. What concerns me though is that there's nothing the Bills can do to make Patrick Mahomes leave the Chiefs. And that's what I kind of think this is. The Bills to me were like the Utah Jazz going up against the Chicago Bulls and the Michael Jordan heyday. You have an amazing team. You have 2 Hall of Famers and you're starting 5.
Yeah.
But you're going up against Michael Jordan, right? It's not that you're a bad team. It's you happen to be playing at the same time as Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and this Chiefs team. And so I think that's the thing that concerns me, is that the Bills had a great team and were utterly manhandled. And frankly, like every sense of the word for, 60 minutes. And so if that's the case, like I just don't know how much better they can end up being. That division, though, I'm really excited about in the future, just because I think between Miami, Buffalo, and I think a revamped Patriots team are going to be really competitive. And then we'll see what the Jets end up doing. At least they have a new head coach now, so it's something to kind of root for and see if there's change.
They got a high pick. We'll see what they do.
That's the thing. I was really hoping that they were going to have Lawrence and because of that case, then you would have had Lawrence and Tua and Allen all in the same bubble, and then the Patriots would probably be drafting a young quarterback. Yeah. So, but I still, it's a really amazing division to watch going forward. I still think the Bills are going to be a really good team for a number of years to come. But definitely. I do think if they can't win one in the next 2 years, I think it's going to be really hard, because Mahomes is already paid. And they just
he is. Just a little bit, right? Just a little bit of money for Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would also say, last thing though, is that Stephon Diggs fit in seamlessly without a whole offseason. I mean, maybe they're able to be better. I mean, it's hard to imagine that. I would also say though, Stephon Diggs didn't do a whole lot in this championship game. So
no. You know what's interesting, and this is going back to Packers Bucks, that play that Jalen Ramsey got burned on by Devontae Adams going across motion and then wide open, and Ramsey lost his mind. They did that same play against the Bucks, and the Bucks covered it seamlessly. They handed off the coverage perfectly to another defender. Yep. He knew that play was coming. So, just got to I just thought that was interesting when I saw it. Totally not relevant to Bills and Chiefs, but congratulations, both the Packers, Bills, for phenomenal seasons. Aaron Rodgers, clear MVP, with Josh Allen right behind him. But of course, Patrick Mahomes is also in the conversation. So we had some really good quarterback matchups outside of Brady, but he did good. I have to give him credit. Whatever. But next we got Super Bowl, Chiefs and Bucks. Bucks first time in the Super Bowl, or not first time, but first time a team is playing in their home stadium, and we'll see if they can win it in their home stadium. Yeah. We'll talk next week about is there a potential advantage going on here. We'll see what happens with it.